Have they got any idea of when they will be able to catch up?
Well, that's exactly the question that I put to BAA a little earlier on. And what they're saying is that these flights that have been cancelled...
Britain came to Brussels looking for a cut or a freeze in the budget. David Cameron didn't achieve that, but the summit proved he has support from others, like the Netherlands and Sweden.
So what happens next? Well, in the short term, instead of the long talks predicted to last all weekend by some, the politicians have gone home. Along with most of the journalists, this press centre is normally packed. But they'll all be back in the new year to see if a deal can be done.
Are expected to identify the body this evening, or we can join our correspondent in Paris, Maddy Savage. Maddy, what have you heard about how and where the body was found?
Well, Pierre's father has spoken to us. He said that he had a number of phone calls.
Comments that are coming in. Let's cross to Bush House and the World Have Your Say team and hear what we've got.
It's been a very busy few minutes. The phone lines have been rammed with people getting in touch with us. Some of the latest places: Kenya, Mauritius, Italy. Well, there's been a resounding yes vote from President Francois Hollande. He himself only elected in May, so he's only been working with President Barack.
Controversy in Belgium over the choice of a Christmas tree selected for Brussels. Here's Maddy Savage.
Brussels is preparing for its winter festivities. But this year's Christmas tree is about as far from traditional as you can get.
The whole thing's about 25 metres high, around 100 steps, so going up keeps you warm on a cold winter's day like this. And once you get to the top, this is the view. That's according to a rebel spokesperson who's been speaking to the Reuters news agency. We'll endeavour to bring you more on that as soon as we can get it. Now, tributes are being paid to the golfing legend Seve Ballesteros, who has died at the age of 54. The Spanish golf star was diagnosed with a brain tumour 3 years ago. He won the Open title 3 times, the Masters twice, and led a golden age in European golf as both a player and a captain in the Ryder Cup. He died at his home in Spain. Andy Swiss looks back at his life.
Few golfers...
Others going back along the River Thames to park their boats elsewhere, or even travelling to other parts of the country. But one family who are with me now to tell us their story is the Laverick family. Peter Laverick at the head, your boat Verity just behind us. First of all, tell us how the day was for you.
It's stunning. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's never going to happen again.
And what could you see from where you were?
What's done?
Thousands of people have turned out on the streets here to try and catch a glimpse of the new royal couple, and now that moment has finally arrived.
This was one of 3 kisses enjoyed by the crowds as the royals shone in some rare autumn sunshine.
One of the world's most stolen paintings, the Ghent altarpiece, is now being restored at a museum in Belgium and is turning the people restoring it into art exhibits themselves, as Maddy Savage reports.
Getting a glimpse of the past. These art experts are the eyes behind the restoration. It's a painstaking process. There are more than 20 of these panels, and they all need to be checked for damage. Layers of yellow varnish that have made the painting appear darker.
Of course that's going to be a problem for me. I need to work and earn a living, and if I can't wear sexy clothes, then I don't think that will please the men. They want to see our bodies.
The city's mayor insists the changes are necessary because increasingly revealing outfits have attracted increasingly rowdy customers.
Thousands of skilled workers who can't find jobs in Greece, Spain and Portugal could help fill vacancies in other parts of the EU. That's the message from the European Commission, which has launched a new drive to encourage job mobility. It wants government employment agencies in different countries to work more closely together. But there's been strong opposition to the idea from Europe's largest trade union, which says the strategy will cause a brain drain from the south of the continent and limit economic recovery. Maddy Savage reports from northern Belgium.
Building a new future. Pedro Guimarães moved here a few months ago after struggling to find a job in Portugal.
The negative things to be here, it's to be far away from the family and the friends and the good weather too. And the positive things is to have some money to pay the bills and to help the family.
At the moment, he's on a one-year contract, but if he wants to stay, he's in with a good chance. The unemployment rate here is half that in Portugal. Pedro was helped to find his job by Portugal's Public Employment Service, which is working directly with job agencies here in Belgium. It's all part of an EU scheme to try and match unskilled workers who can't find jobs at home with unfilled vacancies in other countries. Between January 2009 and November 2012, the number of Portuguese, Spanish and Greeks signed up online to the EU's job matching service went from around 60,000 to 300,000. But during that period, only 5,000 of them found jobs through the service, a tiny amount when you consider the estimated 5.5 million vacant positions across Europe. The figures don't include those who've moved here with the help of private agencies like these nurses, or others who've had more indirect help from the EU's employment service, advice and information rather than job matching. But the European Commission admits it needs to work harder to persuade more recruiters to advertise abroad.
We know from statistics that mobility of workers in the EU is very low. There's a lot of room for improvement. What the European Commission encourages employment services to do is to increase the flow and the exchange of vacancies so that workers have access to a wider pool of posts.
Many of those who protested against high unemployment across Europe last week don't want to leave their home countries. And critics also talk about the so-called brain drain, if too many talented workers move away and never come back.
Having engineers, for example, going out from Spain or from Portugal will have an absolute negative impact on the future of the industry, of the economy in the following years, in the coming years.
Back on the building site, Pedro says he will return to Portugal once he's made some money. But he knows plenty of others who are in no rush to go home. Maddy Savage, BBC News in Groot Bay Garden in Belgium.